So today we're going to talk about how your body changes as you start your vegan journey. We'll start from 2 hours in up to week 4 and beyond, when you turn into a pasty former shell of yourself that's so tired you can't move because of the protein deficiency you've given yourself. Just kidding, but I bet that's what all your friends and family have been telling you when you said you was going to go on a plant-based diet. But these things don't happen, but there are loads of amazing things that do happen when you turn to a vegan diet. But here's the disclaimer: none of this is set in stone. It will affect different people differently based on how your body's made up, the diet you choose to eat and the lifestyle you follow. If you choose to eat chips and nuts smothered in olive oil every day, then don't be surprised if you don't have the same effects as somebody who eats a more balanced vegan diet. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get all your UK-based vegan news, reviews and opinions as soon as we release them. So let's begin. The benefits start 2 hours after eating your first vegan meal. Now, you may not have known this, but when you eat meat or dairy, your body has an adverse reaction. But we've known this for 20 years. Back in 1997, a study showed that within 2 hours of eating a meat and dairy product, your body showed signs of inflammation. And this inflammation is causing your arteries to stiffen and stop working properly. But it's not just your arteries, it's your whole vascular system, as well as your lungs and your airways. Now, this inflammation is caused by bacteria that gets into your system while your body is trying to digest the meat and dairy products. Now, the bacteria then release toxins which your immune system then tries to fight off, and that's then what causes the problems. And it's a cycle that just goes on and on and on. The next big difference you're going to notice in the first few days is a lack of non-human hormones floating around in your system now you're no longer drinking animal milks. Unless, of course, you're already drinking soy milk before you went to a plant-based diet. Now, these hormones are in milk because, and it's obvious when you think about it, milk is produced by females when they're either pregnant or they've had babies. So in terms of dairy, we won't get into the whole animal welfare side of permanently pregnant cows. Where do all the calves go? And if we're drinking the milk, what are the calves being fed? That's a completely different video. But that's why there's hormones in the milk and we're now drinking it. That means we're drinking milk designed to take a newborn cow who's 6 stone up to 80 stone by the time it's 2 years old. Add in that as well the 60 natural to cow hormones but not natural to humans, and you can see that it's a cocktail that probably isn't really best for us. And yes, there are loads of vitamins and minerals in milk. However, there are several myths about this as well. One of the myths is calcium. So yes, cow's milk is full of calcium, but the protein in the milk, when it's digested by our body, makes our blood go acidic. So our body then takes the calcium we've stored to reduce the acidity. So it's counterproductive, really. In these first few days, the least problematic side effect is actually the one that everyone thinks is going to be the worst, and the one which your friends will tell you is going to be the worst as well, and that's wind. Now, you may find that because you've got an increase in fibre that you may find yourself being a little bit more gassy than you was before, but studies have shown that generally this doesn't even happen. And even if it does happen, it only lasts a day or two at the most. So at the end of the first week then, and your gut is now a healthier place. And what's happened is the bacteria that was needed to digest meat was obviously flesh-eating or pathogenic, which is why it's been linked to colon cancer. But that's now been replaced by a more protective species called Prevotella. Now, the other myth to do with your gut is poop. So studies have shown, and yes, there's been studies on this, that show that a vegan only goes to the toilet 7% more than a vegetarian. But generally speaking, you will be more regular than you were as a meat eater. So that's the first week done. No inflammation, no non-human hormones, a healthier gut, less bloat and more energy. So a huge study done by Dr. Esselstyn shows what can happen 3 weeks after starting a vegan diet. So he had a study with 200 people that all suffered from cardiovascular disease. And they showed at the end of that 3 weeks that the cardiovascular disease was either halted, and in some cases it was even reversed to allow the arteries to have more blood flow through them and start to reduce the effects of that cardiovascular disease. There are now loads of studies being done to look into the advantages of a plant-based diet. Now, I'll go through some of these studies, but I'll have to read some of the bits so I don't get the figures wrong. But there was a 12-week study which showed a decrease in blood sugar level by up to 20% for diabetics. There was a 14-week study with obese people, and they lost on average 13 pounds or 3% of their body fat by following a balanced vegan diet. They also showed levels of insulin insensitivity and gluten tolerance. There was a 16-week study with migraine sufferers, and at the end of that period, 88% of them had lower levels of headache pain, and a third of them didn't even need medication anymore to manage their migraines. There was another study for diabetes which had a bunch of type 2 diabetics being studied, and 43% of them reduced their medication with a 30% reduction in blood sugar levels and reductions in their cholesterol levels too. Acne in a vegan diet is something else which is in the social media and on the news a lot more at the moment, and studies have shown that acne can either be calmed or even reverted if going onto a plant-based diet. Dairy and causing acne has been something we've known about for a long time. I personally know people that were told 15 years ago to reduce their dairy intake to help alleviate the symptoms of acne. And backing that up with the modern day knowledge of vegetables and fruits and the antioxidants that are in them to help with skin conditioning, and it all backs up that theory. So going back to Dr. Esselstyn, he's done another study which lasted for 12 years, and it followed 200 people that changed onto a vegan diet. Now 177 of them people stayed with a vegan diet for that whole 12 years, and they had a 0.6% rate of heart attack or stroke. Now the 21 that went back to their old diet, they had a 62% rate of heart attacks and strokes. Now this is backed up by another long-term study of 8,400 people that showed that just one portion of meat a week raised your chances of getting diabetes by 74%. And just looking around blogs and the internet, you can find loads of first-hand studies and reports by people who have changed onto a plant-based diet and the effects it's had on their body and their lifestyle. Now one in particular is a woman from America called Sandra Vander May, and she had stage 3 kidney damage, which means that only 44% of her kidneys were functioning. And she went onto a plant-based diet after suffering for 12 years, and within 8 weeks her kidney function has gone up to 62%, which was higher than she'd had in the whole of the 12 years previous to that. Now the World Health Organization, they categorise products and chemicals into carcinogen lists, and a class 1 carcinogen is one which is proven to have cancer-causing properties for humans, and this includes things such as cigarettes, alcohol and asbestos. Now I don't know how nutritional asbestos is, but it's probably not worth finding out, because who would want to eat a class 1 carcinogen anyway? Hold on a minute, that's right, processed meat is now being classified as a class 1 carcinogen, so it's as carcinogenic to humans as asbestos is. So add on to all of this the moral benefits of plant-based or vegan diets. So you're no longer eating another animal's flesh, you're no longer taking part in the killing of 1 billion animals in the UK alone, you're not taking part in the legal cruelty known as the meat farming and dairy farming industries, and you're not adding to the environmental pressures that meat and dairy do to the world, and it's clear to see that going to a plant-based or vegan diet is a much better, healthier place to be. So that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please remember to hit the like button. Please share it with your friends if you like to, and don't forget to subscribe to us, and remember to press the notification icon too, so that you get notified as soon as we release our next video. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you soon.